What's up, Space Marines? So I just beat TimeSplitters Future Perfect here on YouTube, where I stream whatever I feel like. Now, for those who don't know, TimeSplitters Future Perfect is the third and final entry of the TimeSplitters Trilogy, and I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and experiences from my playthrough, and hopefully teach you a thing or two along the way. Before we talk about TimeSplitters Future Perfect, I'd like to take a moment just to talk about TimeSplitters Rewind. More information about TimeSplitters Rewind will be in the description. To keep it quick, TimeSplitters Rewind is a fan-made project that is not a remake or a remaster. It calls itself an attempt to create one definitive TimeSplitters experience, and this project has been in development since 2007. I've seen a bunch of updates on it over the past years. I haven't watched a whole lot of gameplay, but I'm still crazy excited because what I have seen looks to truly just be the captured TimeSplitters Arcade League experience. In addition to just being multiplayer, the game is going to have 28 maps at launch, 50 arcade leagues, 91 characters, 20 arcade game modes, 10 player online, full campaign, it's also co-op, 32 challenges, 41 weapons, and full bot support. Now, come here real quick. You want to know a sweet gamer secret? It's all free. Yeah, it's being released for free. I have no idea how this is possible, but I'm not going to question that. I'm just going to download and play it. So yeah, check out TimeSplitters Rewind if you're interested. Anyway, back to TimeSplitters Future Perfect. TimeSplitters Future Perfect was a PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox game that was released in March of 2005. Future Perfect was developed by Free Radical Design, which is a group of former Rare devs who worked on a certain FPS movie tie-in game on the N64. Good luck trying to figure out what game that was, because it's really niche and no one's ever heard of it. This third installment of the TimeSplitters campaign follows Sergeant Cortez traveling through time and space to stop the TimeSplitters and stop the time crystals from ever being created in the first place. The campaign is made up of story missions, each with their own little objectives, like GoldenEye or Perfect Dark. One thing I noticed early on in TimeSplitters 3, when comparing it to TimeSplitters 2, TimeSplitters 3, every objective in the game can be completed just by moving forward and surviving, whereas TimeSplitters 2 has objectives that the players could just outright miss. Perfect example of this is the dam mission, those filing cabinets. You have to blow them all up, and if you just miss them, you can complete the mission still, but you don't get a full reward for it. Anyways, let's talk about the campaign real quick. In my opinion, the campaign in TimeSplitters Future Perfect was an extremely fun solo experience to just pick up and play. The time travel idea that is central to the whole theme and just kind of game that is TimeSplitters allows for so many different possibilities for levels and styles, and I felt that the devs took full advantage of this and went wild with the locations, stories, guns, and costumes. For example, in this game alone, just in the story, you have 1920 Scotland, the US in the 90s, the USSR in the 60s, and then just the future in some space age future. But what stood out most to me while playing each of these levels in TimeSplitters was that each one does a fantastic job of applying that signature TimeSplitters style to each of these time periods. Every level, costume, animation, and model in the game is created with the same level of polish and detail as the next. The animations, cutscenes, and gameplay take everything from TimeSplitters 2 and turn it up a few notches. It felt like every level of Future Perfect could be demos for other full games that take place in each time period. And overall, I just thought the campaign in TimeSplitters 3 Future Perfect is a love letter to the visual medium of storytelling that was a thrill to play. I'm not going to spell out each level of the campaign because, like always, I think you should play TimeSplitters Future Perfect for yourself. Now, real quick before we move on, I want to take a quick break because I know that there might be one person out there that's been looking at the gameplay on screen and hearing me talk about the campaign and thinking, oh, why haven't I heard of this game before? That's because of when the game was released. Like I said earlier, the game was released in March of 2005. That means it came out the same year as I don't know what's worth fighting for, or why I have to scream. I don't know why I instigate and say what I don't mean. I don't know how I got this way. I know it's not alright, so I'm breaking the habits. I'm breaking the habits tonight. So yeah, I hope that kind of painted the picture why maybe some of you haven't heard of TimeSplitters Future Perfect. But anyway, where were we? Yeah, getting back to it. The multiplayer and additional game modes. In addition to the campaign, I think TimeSplitters also has possibly the most expansive, feature-rich multiplayer of any game of its time, and still to this day is extremely expansive and well thought out. The multiplayer in Future Perfect has 150 playable characters, 15 maps, arcade mode, which is just multiplayer or against bots, or you can work them in together, arcade league, which is just a set of challenges like be the last one alive, get 10 kills, things like that. And then it also came with a full-on map maker on launch, where the player could use prefabricated rooms to make a map to play a multiplayer, and then you could share these with your friends. In addition to all the stuff I was just listing off, this arcade mode can also have custom weapon sets, custom bots, custom bot difficulty per bot, and custom teams and sizes, which opens up a million doorways for gameplay possibilities. Because of all this flexible customizability in TimeSplitters, I think it's the best pick up and play FPS experience of any game on the 6th generation, where somebody who has 1,000,000 hours playing could create a fair match against somebody who it's their first time playing through balancing out bots in the weapon set. Let me just give you a couple examples real quick as to how flexible the TimeSplitters configuration is in multiplayer. You think to yourself, oh, TimeSplitters, actually, I'd like to fight a bunch of zombies in a 60s themed nightclub with Tommy guns. TimeSplitters says, I got you. And whoa, now you're a little impressed. You're like, wow, that's pretty cool. So you think to yourself, you get a little wise. You say, oh, how about that new game mode? Battle Royale, that's the craze. You go, alright, TimeSplitters, I want to play a Battle Royale mode where it's last one alive wins. You don't have that, do you? Wrong. TimeSplitters has it. TimeSplitters Future Perfect arcade mode, just like the campaign, is flawless. And in my opinion, I think that the TimeSplitters games are my favorite FPS games of the 6th generation. Dare I say it, but TimeSplitters Future Perfect might just be Future Perfect. If you don't believe me that TimeSplitters Future Perfect is an amazing final song on the album that is TimeSplitters, I have to assume you've never played it, and here's an opinion from my friend who showed me the TimeSplitters Trilogy many years ago. So yeah, I guess that kind of wraps up my thoughts for now on TimeSplitters Future Perfect. If you'd like to watch my playthrough, a link to the playlist or the first video or something will be in the description. And thank you so much for watching. Take it easy, gamers.
So, been with the agency long?
Yeah. 3 years in May.
You get dental?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah! Time to split!
I'll get the next one.